Court of County, the Honorable Judge Faine.
All right, we are back on the record in the Richardson case. Mr. Knippen, are we ready? Ms. Kraft, on behalf of the state?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rickers, are we ready on behalf of the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just a reminder to the folks in the gallery about our general rules. If you have a phone and electronic device, it needs to be on silent or off. You are permitted to use your electronic devices during the court proceedings as long as they can be done so quietly. No taking pictures while court is in session. If you want access to pictures, you can do so through the media pool. You can contact Ms. Burnside and she will assist you with that. Remain quiet and respectful during the proceedings. No sighs, audible gas, rolls of the eyes, nods of the head, none of that kind of stuff. I do not want to embarrass you by asking you to leave during the proceedings, but I will. Go ahead, Mr. Mullins, get our jury. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, welcome back. Was everybody able to follow my instructions and admonitions over the break?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Rickers, you may continue.
Lieutenant Faine, just so it's my understanding, you take no responsibility for the total investigation in this case. The lead detective was Detective Carter, is that correct?
For which investigation?
For the Skylar Richardson investigation, the lead detective was Detective Carter, not you, correct?
She was the detective assigned, yes.
Okay. While this case has been pending, you've made some posts on social media, correct?
I'm sorry?
You've posted about this case on social media while it's been
I have
pending.
posted about the case on social media.
Yes.
Nothing with regard to the case, specifics of the case or information directly related pertaining to the case, no.
Well, your Facebook profile is Jimmy Crone, correct?
Yes.
And you have posted in conversation groups about this case, correct?
Posted a conversation about the case?
You actually referenced,
Objection. Overruled.
you said, interesting read with the Richardson case right around the corner, ... and posted an article in a conversation group, correct?
Oh, yes, I do recall that, yes.
And there was another comment as well, correct?
Possibly.
Okay. While the case was pending, and I know it wasn't related to this case, but you were found, two charges were sustained for conduct unbecoming of an officer and unsatisfactory performance, correct?
Yes.
And do you remember at the end of these interrogations, when you spoke with Scott Richardson, Skylar's dad, and he said, she may be 18, but she's just a stupid kid. And you said, yeah, I think she's just a young, scared kid. Do you remember that?
I said what?
I think she's just a young, scared kid. Do you remember that?
I think I said yes. Yeah, young, scared kid. I recall I didn't think of her as stupid, but that wasn't my observation. That was her father's.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Knippen, redirect.
Sir, with respect to the discipline Mr. Rickers was just mentioning, did it in any way affect the way that you conducted your investigation in this case?
No, that discipline was something not related to this case, and it was also well after my part of this case was already done.
And in fact, the main part of your involvement in this case was to conduct the interviews with the defendant, Ms. Richardson, is that right?
Yes, for the most part, my involvement is what everyone has seen on the 2 interviews that we saw.
Okay. Mr. Rickers was asking you about the fact that you had interviewed Dr. Boyce. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he brought up the fact that Dr. Boyce told you that Skylar had referenced that this was a stillbirth. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Dr. Boyce also told you where Skylar told her she delivered this baby, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Where was that?
Objection. That's hearsay. That's not what Dr. Boyce testified, Your Honor.
I will allow this, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the limited purpose of evaluating the credibility for you to give to this witness and to explain why the things he did, why he did the things he did. You can use it for that and no other purpose.
Where did she tell you, sir?
She said that Skylar had told her she'd given birth in her bedroom.
Okay. As a result of that information, did you do anything with that?
Well, initially what I did was think about the interview because that conflicted with the information that Skylar had given us. And that was part of the precipitation towards why we were out there on the 24th to conduct more evidence. We wanted to then look specifically in her bedroom to see if there was any evidence of blood or anything like that, which would indicate she may have actually been telling Dr. Boyce the truth instead of us, that the delivery took place in the bedroom instead of the bathroom.
And you're aware, you've already testified, there was a blood stain found right there in her room, is that correct?
Yes, there was.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else for this witness?
Did Dr. Boyce take notes when Skylar talked to her about having a stillborn?
I'm sorry, did she talk to,
Did she take any notes?
did I take notes?
Did Dr. Boyce, if you're aware?
Well, I do not know if she took notes.
Did you review the Hilltop OBGYN records?
Have I reviewed those records? No.
Fair to say that when someone's talking to a young girl about the details of delivering a stillborn, it might not have been important to Dr. Boyce where this occurred, correct?
No, I would think it would be important.
Are you aware that she testified in here for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? And she said she doesn't know. Skylar could have told her the bathroom. It wasn't important to her.
Again, I've not been allowed to see any of the testimony, so I'm not aware of what she said.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can step down. Next witness?
Your Honor, at this time, the state would call Brandon Saylor.
Raise your right hand for me. Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in these proceedings to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? So help you God.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. You're going to have to speak up so that they can hear you, okay? Can you please state your full name for the record, spelling your last?
Brandon Saylor, Saylor.
And Brandon, as we sit here today, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay.
Ms. Kraft, I apologize for interrupting your, I had a note here. Is this one of the witnesses that elected not to be photographed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right? All right, so this is one of our witnesses who elect not to be photographed. If we could, please adjust ourselves accordingly. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Are you attending college now?
Yes.
And where are you going to school at?
I go to Miami University of
In your
Middletown.
I'm sorry?
Of Middletown.
Okay. In your sophomore year?
Correct.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Carlisle High School.
Okay. While you were at Carlisle High School, did you become familiar with an individual by the name of Brooke Skylar Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you actually know her by the name Skylar?
Correct, yeah.
At some point, did you and Skylar start dating?
Yes.
And do you recall approximately when that was?
January 30th of 2017.
Okay. Are you nervous, Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're talking really, really quiet, okay? And I want to make sure
Okay.
Ms. Kilgore can hear you, and I want to make sure the jury can hear you,
Mr.
okay?
Senator, if you move forward and speak into the red light, that will help you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. So I think you just said you started dating January 30th of 2017?
Correct.
Okay. Did you know her for a period of time before you started dating her?
Roughly a month, yeah.
And when you and her started dating, what year were you in school?
I was a junior.
She was a senior,
Correct.
so she was a year ahead of you?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that you knew her approximately a month before you started dating?
Give or take, yeah.
Okay. You guys started getting pretty serious after you started dating?
Yes.
Okay. And did you spend a lot of time together?
Yes.
How much time do you think you would spend in any given week?
I don't know, probably 5-6 days.
Okay. by spring break of that year, did you guys have an opportunity to spend some time together over spring break?
Yes.
Can you please explain how that came about?
So for high school, we went to Fort Walton Beach for a baseball tournament, and Mrs. Richardson went to Destin on a family vacation.
Okay, so when you say we went, who is we?
Me and my family.
Okay, so your family was on spring break in one location, and Miss Richardson was on spring break at another location?
Correct.
Were they in close proximity to each other, though?
Yes.
Okay. And during the course of that spring break, did you guys make arrangements to meet up several times during that spring break?
Yes.
Brandon, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 134A for purposes of identification. Is that a picture of you and Miss Richardson when you were on spring break that year?
Yes.
How serious were you two, Brandon?
I would say pretty serious.
Pretty serious? Recognizing you were a senior, or junior, I'm sorry, and she was a senior, for you, did it seem like a pretty significant relationship?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. When you guys weren't together, did you spend a lot of time texting?
Yes.
And that's the thing kids do these days, right? There's
Right.
a lot of texting going on.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 54 for purposes of identification. Is that your cell phone that you had in 2017?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And was that phone taken from you as part of the investigation for this case?
Yes.
Prior to that phone being taken from you, was that a phone that you would have used to text Ms. Richardson from?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you if you recall if the phone number for that phone was 513-267-2038.
Yes.
Before this investigation started, were you aware of whether or not Ms. Richardson also had her own personal cell phone?
Yes, she did.
She did. Okay, and do you recall if the phone number for that phone was 1-937-405-9484?
Yeah.
And if you don't recall phone numbers, that's fine.
I don't recall if that's the exact number, no.
Okay. Did you learn at some point during the investigation her personal cell phone was taken from her?
Yes.
And at that point in time, was it your understanding that she switched over to using her mom's personal cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So would it be fair to say then that during the year 2017, she texted you from two different devices?
Correct, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 124, Brandon. In your phone, there is a contact for Kim Richardson, and you can probably see that on the screen right there too. It might be easier to see. And there's a phone number listed of 937-266-1796, and it was input July 15th of 2017. Would that be the phone, best you can remember, that she switched over to?
Yes.
And below that, there's another contact for Skylar with a heart that was put in January 14th of 2017, and the phone number is 1-937-405-9484. Would that have been her personal phone that she started texting you from when the relationship started up until it was taken away?
Yes.
It also indicates next to her contact that there's a photo attached. Did you have, and help me, on your phone, If you were to call Skylar or look her up to call her or text her, would you have an image that was associated with her name as well?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 125 for purposes of identification. Was that the picture that was associated with her name in your contacts?
Yeah.
Now, Brandon, when you and Miss Richardson started dating in January of 2017, did you know at that time that she was pregnant?
No.
Did you have any idea at all?
No.
When did you first find out?
When everyone else found out.
During the investigation?
Correct.
Backing up a little bit, after spring break, you guys get back from spring break, is the relationship still going pretty strong?
Yes.
Do you end up taking her to her senior prom?
Yes.
I know how you just answered the question, but I want to make sure. Did you have any idea at prom that Miss Richardson was pregnant?
No.
You now know that she gave birth to a baby that weekend, correct?
Yes.
Brandon, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 134B for purposes of identification. Is that a picture of you and Miss Richardson from spring break?
No.
I'm sorry, from prom?
Yes.
Okay, and that was her senior prom?
Yes.
And that occurred on May 5th of 2017?
Yes.
You said that at the time you did not know she was pregnant, correct?
Correct.
Since this case has come about, have you had an opportunity to look at these pictures again?
Yes.
Hindsight's 20/20, correct?
Yeah.
When you look at these pictures now, does she appear pregnant to you?
I mean, I would say so.
When you guys were at prom that evening, did she give you any indication that she wasn't feeling good?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She said that she was having bad cramps.
Okay. When she told you that she was having bad cramps, what did you think those cramps were from?
A period.
Okay. Did she tell you they were from a period?
Yes.
Did she give you any reason to believe that they were anything other than cramps from a period?
No.
When she told you that she wasn't feeling well and that she was having cramps, did you in fact try to comfort her in some way?
Yes.
How so?
Rubbing her back, holding her hand.
And again, through all of that, it was your understanding that those were period cramps?
Correct.
And she gave you no reason to believe that anything else was occurring at that time?
Correct.
After you guys got home from prom that night, did you start texting?
Yes.
I want to go through some of the texts that occurred with you and the defendant over that weekend, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the evening of prom, and I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 126 for purposes of identification. And we're just going to go through these sections at a time, okay?
Okay.
And you would agree that these start out, make sure we get all of that in there, May 6th of 2017 at 12:49:45 a.m.
I only see 12:50.
Is it not up there Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now okay. And I'm going to ask you a question, Brandon, and this is in no way intended to embarrass you. There is a reference on the party that these are between Skylar, the heart that we previously saw in your contacts, correct?
Yep.
And Big Dick Willie.
Correct.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that a joke?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Just kid being a kid. Thought it'd never happen. Never come up.
Were you playing a game with Siri? Is
Yeah.
that how that
Yeah.
name came to be?
Yeah.
Okay. But that was just you being a teenager. You were 17 at the time, correct?
16.
16.
Yeah.
And so these texts start out that evening. You start the text and said, I hate, but I think maybe you were meaning to say have.
Had.
I had, okay, a ton of fun. You didn't look like you did. And then there's an emoji. Is that you starting out that conversation?
Yes.
And then Skylar responds to you, the only time I wasn't having fun was when I started cramping super bad. And I'm sorry, babe, I promise you made it extremely fun. Was that in fact happening at prom that night?
Yeah.
And is that the cramping that you were referring to?
Yes.
And you responded back to her, okay, babe, I'm sorry you started this week. And is that you, again, believing what she told you that she had her period?
Correct.
And then she responds back to you, it's not your fault, it was just a horrible thing, but you made up for it. You responded, good, I wish I could have used magic and helped you or cured you. And she says, you practically did cure me by being so understanding and letting me squeeze your hands. And you had indicated that you were trying to comfort her
Yes.
by rubbing her back and holding her hand.
Yeah.
And is that what you're referring to in that text?
Yes.
She then responds back to you and says, post some of our prom pictures on Twitter. Had you taken some pictures that night?
We had, yeah.
Okay. And is that what that text is referring to, the pictures that had been taken the evening of prom?
Yes.
And Skylar responds back, those were like, and then there's a blank. And she comes back and says, all the worst pictures of me. I'm embarrassed. And you tell her, no, not true.
Yeah.
Were you trying to make her feel good about how she looked that night?
Yes.
And then you said back to her, then send me what I can use. And she says, I look terrible in all of them. Was that the conversation that occurred after prom?
Yes.
Anywhere during those texts or that evening, did she give you any indication that she was having anything other than menstrual cramps?
No.
We're now, and we can tell from these texts, into the early morning hours of May 6th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That morning, did you check on her to see if she was feeling any better?
Yeah.
And do you recall sending her a text that morning to check on her and see if she was feeling better?
I don't recall, no, but I'm sure that it's up there.
Okay. Did you think, and you indicated, let me go back to the very first text. Based on how she was acting that night, were you concerned that she had not had fun at prom with you?
Yes.
Okay. And the first text you send later that day is at 11:03. You sure you still like me? Why did you send that, Brandon?
I guess just reassurance. I just needed some reassurance.
Okay. And she didn't respond back right away, correct?
Yeah.
So that still leaves you with a little bit of doubt about what's happening at this point?
Sure.
Ms. Kraft, I don't want to interfere with your evidence presentation, but I think it's difficult for folks to see on the screen. And if it's maybe not important that we get maybe the first or the second column, you might be able to zoom in a little bit and we might be able to see what's better.
Thought I had zoomed in on all of it, Your Honor.
It just appears from the squinting that nobody can really see what's on the screen.
It's not going to because of the base of the lamp. Allow me to take it over so you can see the text. That's as big as I can get it, Your Honor. I can't because it's not going to slide.
Mr. Mullins, does it flip 90 degrees? Does it flip 90 degrees?
It's up to you. We're going to try moving them a little bit easier so that you can see them and the jury can see them better, okay? Okay. So the next morning, you sent her a text at 11:03 and say, "You sure you still like me?" And you said that was because you were a little bit concerned about how the evening had gone?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't hear back from her right away, and then at 12:29:33, that same morning, you get a text from her that says, "I'm so sorry for not replying. I was having horrible cramps, so I've been laying on my couch with a heating pad this whole time. I'm sorry. I love you always." Do you recall getting that text from her?
Yes.
And at that point in time, she's still leading you to believe she's having cramps as a result of her period.
Correct.
Has she given you any other information through any form of communication other than these texts that something else might be going on?
No.
And it looks like you responded back to her right after you received that text. "It's okay. I thought you were asleep. We don't have to go to the game. It's going to be miserable for you." She says, hush. We are going. This is your birthday present. We are going and we will have fun regardless of how I feel. What is that about, the game?
She was taking me to a Reds game for a birthday present.
Okay. And you were trying to tell her, we don't have to go if you don't want to?
Correct.
Okay. Did you guys go to a Cincinnati Reds game
We
that
did.
weekend? Who all went?
Me, I think Skylar, her mom, and her dad.
Okay. And do you recall, was it an afternoon game, an evening game?
I don't remember. I want to say it was like a 4 o'clock start.
Okay. Before you guys leave for the game at 1:29, you send her another text, Brandon, and you say, "I'm honestly super scared about college." And she responds back, "Do you mean like when I go or when you go?" And you said, "When you go."
Correct.
Were you still feeling a little bit uncertain about how prom had gone?
No, that was just normal. Me needing reassurance.
You needing reassurance from her?
Yeah.
Okay. And she went on to say at 1:32, you shouldn't be, babe. You are the only one I love, and I couldn't meet a million people there. And I could meet a million people there, but they'd still never be you or never come close to comparing you to you. You responded, "I'm just scared you'll forget about me or forget what I can do or forget how I treat you and want someone who's closer to you." And then she responds, "Absolutely not. I don't think you understand. I literally cannot just forget about you or the way you make me feel, like it's impossible to forget someone who changed my life and made it so much better." That had to have made you feel good to hear that, correct?
Yeah.
And was that some of the reassurance that you were looking for?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you say, okay, good, babe, I love you and I need you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And Skylar says in response at 1:44, good, because I love you and can't possibly be without you and I can't wait to see our future. You then respond, good, babe, I literally need you. And she says, well, I'm not going anywhere ever. So when you said earlier that you guys were pretty serious, recognizing your ages at the time, did you think that this relationship was going to go well into the future for both of you?
Yeah.
What did you hope would come of this relationship?
Long life.
And is that something you and her both talked about?
I don't think that we talked about it, no.
Did you think that she felt the same way?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that series of text messages, you two go to the Cincinnati Reds game, correct?
Correct.
Does she, at that point in time, tell you what's going on?
No.
Does she give you any indication that she's having cramps from something other than her period?
No.
You're still left to believe that that's what that weekend was about.
Yes.
Everybody ends up going home that evening after the game. You go back to your house. She goes home with her parents.
Yeah.
Okay. After you guys got home from the game and she goes to her house and she goes to bed, do you know what, if anything, happens that evening, Brandon?
I do not.
Do you at that time have any idea what happens into the early morning hours of May 7th?
No.
At that time, did you have any knowledge that she gave birth to her daughter that night?
No.
At that time, did you have any knowledge that she buried her daughter in the backyard?
No.
The next time you hear from her is May 7th, is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's later on in the morning, early morning?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to May 7th at 10:54 a.m. And would you agree that's you saying, good morning, beautiful babe?
Yes.
And she responds back, good morning, my amazing boy.
Yeah.
When she responded back, good morning, my amazing boy, at 10:42 a.m., did you know that she had just buried a baby several hours prior?
No.
Did she give you any indication that she had done anything like that during the early morning hours of that day?
No.
Later on that morning, you get more text from her, correct?
Yes.
At 11:45 on that same date, do you recall getting this text? I'll tell you all about it later. But last night, well, actually, let me go back one. You asked her how she was feeling. How do you feel, babe? That's you, correct?
Yes.
Because as far as you know, she still has her period and she still has bad cramps from her period.
Yes.
And her response to you at 11:45:11 on May 7th is, I'll tell you all about it later, but last night was just like the worst ever, and I didn't go to sleep till 5:30. But I feel so much better this morning. I'm happy. Did you have any idea at that time what she was referring to when she said it was the worst night ever?
No.
Did you have any idea what she was referring?
You may.
Brandon, when she told you, I feel so much better this morning, I'm happy, did you know what that was in reference to?
No.
Your response was, good babe, I hate that you went through that without me. And she says, it's okay, I'm just so glad it's over now. Do you recall getting that text?
Yes.
You responded in turn, me too, babe, I'm so glad you're done feeling bad. And she said, so am I hope I never feel like that ever again. That was traumatic. And your response to that group then was, I know, babe, I'm so sorry you had... I know, babe, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, babe. And again, you believe that was just her having a bad period.
Correct.
Later on that day, directing your attention to 1:24 p.m., she sends you a text and says, I'm about to get off and then work out for a bit and then go home and get ready. My family is going to eat probably like 3:45-ish if you would like to come over and then we can hang out. Did you have any reason to question why she was going to work out that day?
No.
Okay. But you knew that she had gone, or at least at 1:30, she was sending you a text that she was on her way to start working out.
Yeah.
Did you end up spending some time together that evening after she worked out?
I don't remember. I believe so.
You believe so? And was there any discussion about how she was feeling when you were with her that evening?
I can't recall.
Okay. Do you recall after spending time that evening, you guys started texting again?
Yeah.
And as you've indicated, if you guys weren't together, you were texting a lot,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. At 9:12:36, you received a text from her and it says, I love you so much. And you responded, I will never stop loving you ever. She says, I hope not, babe, because you're the only one for me. And you said, you really are my true love. And she says, I truly believe that too. At that time, and I think you've already indicated this, but you thought you guys were pretty serious.
Yeah.
You said that 2 days prior at prom, you were kind of questioning and needing some reassurance, but does she seem, by this time now, that kind of her mood has switched over and she's in a better mood?
I would say so.
Okay. You told her at 9:16, I seriously want to live forever with you. She says, me too, babe. That's the plan. You said it better be. I want you to have everything. And she says, you are absolutely everything I need. And your response to that was, good, babe. You're ever I need. And she then says, you plus my family plus my dogs equals the perfect life. Heart, 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 heart. And your response was, couldn't agree more, babe. Do you recall engaging in that line of text with her?
Yeah.
And those texts occurred at 9:12 the evening of May 7th.
Correct.
Okay. Brandon, you now know that that was the weekend, the early morning hours into the day that she gave birth to her daughter, correct?
Correct.
And I think you told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that you didn't find out that that was what had happened that weekend until everybody else did.
Correct.
And by everybody else, you were referring to the investigation that started on July 14th of 2017.
Correct.
How did you first find out what was happening?
We were hanging out and she received a phone call from her dad that she needed to get home, I believe. And then I believe I turned on the news, or somehow my mom came and got me, and we went home and turned on the news, and I was receiving phone calls and pictures and stuff of her house with the crime scene tape wrapped around it.
Did that spook you a little bit?
Absolutely.
Did you start texting her to try to find out what was going on?
Yes.
Initially, did she respond to any of your texts?
No.
And you later found out that her phone had been taken from her?
Correct.
Okay. At some point, do you get a text from her, but from Kim Richardson's phone?
I believe so, yeah.
And is that when you realized she had switched over to using a different phone to text you?
Sure.
Brandon, when, And actually, let's look at the text for a second. July 14th at 18:26 p.m. 8:26:49 p.m. And it says, "Is this Skylar?" And then the response to that is yes, but now it's from Kim Richardson instead of Skylar with the 4 hearts. Would you agree?
Yes.
Is that when you first realized that she was now texting you or communicating with you through a different phone?
Yes.
Okay, and you were confirming when you're getting this text from Kim Richardson that it's not Kim, but that it's in fact Skylar?
Correct.
Okay.
Scott, hold on just 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Once everything started coming out, Skylar started sending you some text indicating she was concerned about what your reaction was going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. On that same date, following in line with her identifying herself as Skylar on Kim's phone at 8:27, she sends you a text and says, "I'm so, are you going to break up with me?" And then the next one is sorry, probably indicating that that's what the so was supposed to mean. Do you recall getting that text from her?
Yeah.
And your response to her was, "No, can you start to explain what's going on?" And she responded back, "Not really, not right now. They were investigating something in our backyard. They had to talk to all of us. It was terrible and scary and horrible, and we can't even go home right now with all of the people at our house. Are you going to leave me?" When that series of texts is going on, other than seeing her house on TV and crime scene tape going up around it, did you have any idea still what was happening?
I believe the initial report was there was a fetus found in the backyard.
Okay. You didn't know what the circumstances of that were, did you?
No.
You just at that point knew what you were hearing on the TV?
Correct.
Okay. And you responded back to her at 8:30:43, "I'm here, I love you, and I will support you no not matter what. I just need to know what's really going on. I'm always going to be here for you." And her response to that was, "Are you mad at me? Is everyone mad at me? I am so sorry. I feel awful. I'm really sorry. Are you okay?" And you responded back, "I'm here for you, and no one is mad at you. No one hates you. We are all here, and just want to know what really happened, babe. I love you more than you'll ever know, and we'll make it through anything." Were you now trying to give her the reassurance that not knowing what's going on, you're still going to be there for her?
Yes.
At 8:34, in response to what you said, Ms. Richardson says, "Okay, thank God I couldn't handle the thought of losing you. I'm sorry. I'm just so scared and freaked out and tired, and me and my family are really freaked out, but I can't say too much now, right now, just because, but it's fine. I love you more than anything. Just know that, okay? I am so sorry that I can't say more right now, but me and my family are going to try and get some rest. Please stay with me through this, and the media is going to say crazy things, but please don't leave me." At that point in time, did you still know what was going on, or just what you were hearing from the TV?
Just what I had heard from TV.
And what you were hearing from the TV was that a fetus had been found in the yard?
Correct.
You tried to, it sounds like, give her more reassurance by saying, "I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to stay right here. All I need is answers. I love you so much, babe. Sleep tight." You
Yeah.
recall doing that?
Yeah.
The next morning, you guys resumed texting, correct?
Yes.
And you send her a text and say, "I support you and will stand with you through all of this. I made a commitment to support you, and I will stand by your side through all of this. I love you and will be here no matter what I am. No matter what, I am here whenever you're ready. Love, Brandon. P.S. That letter I sent you while you were in Florida, I got it back." So are you, it sounds like, still trying, not sure really what's going on, but to continue to offer her some reassurance?
Yes.
And I assume the letter that you're referencing, that's back from spring break?
No. She took a family vacation to Destin, and I was unable to go.
So that was separate and apart from spring
Yes.
break? And to that last text of yours, she responded back, I love you. I am so sorry that I never told you. Please understand that I was scared and worried and so scared of losing you. Thank you for choosing to stay with me. I need you more than ever right now, and I'm so lucky to have you. So lucky. I need you so bad right now. I've been an absolute mess. This has been terrible. So with everything going on at that time, you made a commitment to stay with her.
Yeah.
And she made a commitment to you as well.
Yes.
And again, recognizing that you were 16 and she was 18, you believed this to be a very serious relationship, correct, Brandon?
Yes.
At some point, you did start questioning her about who the father was. Do you recall that? On that same date, just shortly after that last text, you said one of my biggest questions, and this is at 11:51:56, is who the father was. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yeah.
You also said, we all are mostly worried about you and your family. We all love you. And she responded back, that guy, Trey, I used to date, who I never talk about. I'm so sorry for lying and for not telling you in the first place. I am so sorry. Please forgive me eventually. I'm so sorry. You knew that she had been dating Trey well before you and her started dating, correct?
Yeah.
And did she ever give you, up until this point in time, any indication about the nature of her relationship with Trey?
No.
You asked her, why didn't you share this with me before? Did you use protection and it failed? I'm willing to forgive. I just need answers. That's all. And her response to you was, yes, or yeah, I guess so. I will give you any answers you need. I'm sorry. And you started asking her more questions. You wanted to know what had happened and how this came to be, right?
Yeah.
And you said, so you used a condom? And she said, yes, and one time without, so that was probably what happened. I'm so sorry, Brandon. I love you more than anything. I know this is terrible, and I lied, and I'm so sorry. And again, you try to give her reassurance that you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You said, we are okay. I'm not going to break up with you. Your response to her was, we are okay. I'm not going to break up with you. I just feel hurt, sad, confused, and I just wish it was mine. I think this is so hard because it wasn't mine, and you were my girlfriend. And I know you didn't cheat. I just feel so much, and I can't think, eat, sleep, drink, move. I have no energy to do anything. I'm going to be with you forever. I just need time because I feel so much. I am not going to leave you or change my mind. I'm a stubborn person. My mind is set. This is hard for me. I need you, and I want you, and I love you. At your age, it had to have been pretty hard learning everything that was going on
Yeah.
and knowing that all of that had been kept from you.
Yeah.
But you were trying to deal with it
Right.
and come to terms with it.
Yeah.
And you said, I know you're going through more. I'm here for you. Like I always promised, I love you so much. Anything you need. So again, you're still trying to put yourself out there for her.
Yeah.
And her response to you was, I understand that. I'm so sorry, but we were together in like August. I didn't even know I was pregnant for sure until April. I am so sorry that you feel like this. I hate that I've done this to you and made you feel this way. I hate myself for everything that has happened. I'm so unbelievably sorry. I just love you, and you have to understand how absolutely terrified I was, especially of losing you. Do you recall all of those text exchanges occurring between you and Miss Richardson, Brandon?
Yeah.
Did you ever have any discussions with Miss Richardson about whether she wanted to keep her baby?
I don't remember.
After that first interview, when her phone was taken, you guys talked, You committed to staying with her, correct?
Yes.
I want to direct your attention to July 22nd. Did the defendant ask you to come over and help her clean her room?
Yes. I don't know the exact date, but yeah.
Did you think that was odd?
No.
Why not?
It was messy.
Her room was, it wasn't odd because her room was messy?
Yeah.
But you didn't routinely clean her room, correct?
No.
Okay. But on this particular date, after her interview, she asked you if you would come over and help her?
Yes.
What types of things did she have you help her do in the room?
Just pick up trash, throw things away, put things away, and move the bed.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 61 for purposes of identification. Brandon, is that the location that she asked you to move her bed to?
Yes.
Did she give you any explanation on that day when she asked you to come over and help her clean as to why she wanted to clean her room on that day, or why she wanted you to move her bed?
Yes, she said she just wanted to change.
She said she wanted a change?
Yeah.
I want to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 123 for purposes of identification. Is that the position the bed was in prior to her having you move it?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Your Honor, I have nothing else at this time.
Witnesses, you may inquire.
May I have 1 minute, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm okay, thank you. Thanks.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can sit down.
Can we approach, Your Honor?
You may. You done with this witness, right?
Yes.
Yes, Your
Sorry.
Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our afternoon break maybe a little bit early so that we can get some of our tech set up. Remember the things that I have previously told you. Don't start talking about the case amongst yourselves or begin to think about how it should be decided. And we will see everybody back here in about 15 minutes. You may be seated. We are on the record outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Knippen, you just needed a couple of minutes to get set up?
Yes, Your Honor.
One thing that we did not talk about was there was an objection at sidebar made as to some of the swabs with regard to Mr. Chambers. Mr. Knippen made an objection. Mr. Rickers, you wanted to go into a line of questioning in a little more detail. Is there anything that you want to put on the record about that?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Just to proffer for the record, I wanted to get in a line of questioning with the detective in the case who was the only person in both interrogations, Lieutenant Faine, and about how he and Detective Carter continued to swab members of Carlisle student body, including one swab, that of DJ Chambers, that they sent to the lab and did well after Skylar had already told them who the father was, well after her boyfriend Brandon Saylor told them who the father was, and he is one of the only black students at Carlisle High School. I think it goes to the rumors that the detectives were attempting to run down to make this case sensational and exciting, and that is the line of questioning that I wanted to get into with Lieutenant Faine, Your Honor.
Mr. Knippen, anything additional?
Your Honor, it's just the state objects because DJ Chambers is not the father of this child, and so I didn't see the relevance bringing that up with the line of questioning with the detective.
All right, the court finds that there is no relative or no relevant evidence as a result of that inquiry or of the proffer. And even assuming there was some relevant evidence, any relevant evidence would be significantly outweighed by danger of prejudice of the jury and confusion of the issues. So I'm going to sustain the objection. Anything else while we're here?
Your Honor, back to Lieutenant Faine's testimony and interrogation tapes. May we proffer for the record the full tapes of July 14th and 20th and any additional argument on?
Yeah, I mean, we'll make the full tapes part of the record.
Thank you.
I'm not sure at what point we will do that, but I mean, the entire statements will be made part of the record at some point.
Thank you, Judge. And just for
Purposes of the record, we did desire that the entire July 20th tape be played for the jury.
Yes, I think
Thank
we're
you.
pretty well established on that.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay? Ms. Kirby, no problems from the gallery, right? Okay, all right, we're in recess.